Hi there, everybody. Thanks for joining us, and welcome to the AFSA Extra Credit Podcast. We've got a very good show for you today, talking about, the thing that everybody seems to be talking about these days, artificial intelligence, AI. And I am not an expert by any stretch on AI, so we brought somebody in. We're joined today by David Ralstin, who's the Vice President and Chief Information Security Officer with our wonderful business partner, Allied Solutions Security. And David, how are you?
Doing great, Dan. Thanks for asking.
Excellent. Thanks so much for joining us. So we had kind of a beginning thought of a title here: AI, boon or bane to security. I am almost in the position of I don't even know whether I know it's either way, because I feel like there's a lot out there about AI. I think a lot of our members are hearing from all sorts of directions, both within their company and outside their company. What they need to be thinking about, what they need to do to implement AI, and it just seems to be a confusing Wild West. Just like any other tool, attackers can use AI tools and enhance the attacks they're making, make their operations a lot easier, and put a lot of folks, both consumers and businesses, at risk. So, David, give us a bit, a big 35,000-foot view of generative AI itself, and what is it good for other than typing in fun questions about, trivia questions?
Right. Yeah. So from 35,000 feet, I think that AI has been around for a while. And only recently has it kind of been thrust into the public eye with the advent of generative AI and what we call large language models. Now, large language models are a specific type of AI where it is really good at predicting the next word to come next. And so that's really all that it does. And that the power is in its simplicity. And I think everybody's really interested in figuring out how to leverage it for their business, for their particular use case. And I thought that and I know that a lot of the listeners out there, and certainly we are, getting bombarded with everything AI. Every product is getting infused with AI. Every board is interested in what they're doing with AI or not. And I thought that it might be kind of an interesting thing to talk about what AI is with respect to information security and how it leverages some of the capabilities of AI to predict that next word into what we can actually do with it, both from an attacker perspective and from a defensive perspective.
Got it. So predicting the next word, that's interesting. I had not heard such a well distilled explanation of AI. That how does predicting the next word help an attacker make their attacks more successful?
Oh, sure. So you can take the example of spotting a phishing email as a really easy way. Just about everybody, I would assume, would have some understanding of what a phishing email looks like. We've all dealt with that for decades. And as a security practitioner, I and the rest of my colleagues around the world have said, here's what you need to do to spot a phishing email, right? Take a look for one of the big things is broken English, because most of the time this stuff comes over in English, and most of the time that's not the attacker's first language. And so you'll see that's a big red flag. The problem with the advent of generative AI, like ChatGPT, is that an attacker can say, I like you, AI model, to generate me a phishing email and make it sound this way and have it target this organization and have it target these individuals within that organization and create a sense of urgency so they can prompt this AI or just start typing in things, and then it will diligently spit out an email that is very convincing. So all of a sudden, this really nice, easy way to spot phishing email suddenly becomes not a way to do that.
Right. Interesting. I'm always reminded of the emails that we all are always bombarded with here at AFSA, who is purportedly from our CEO, Bill Himpler, asking for gift cards, which I've never known Bill Himpler to ask me for a gift card. So that's the first red flag. But I see your point there. They can use AI to get these things far more sophisticated. And half the trick is just fooling the folks on the other side of the email, right?
Exactly. And we've seen AI being used for much more of the campaign than just that as well. So we've seen threat actor groups actually leverage AI to develop a strategy for a particular social engineering campaign. We've also seen not just with phishing, but also vishing with a V, where generative AI like ChatGPT and Gemini and Copilot can not only predict the next word in a series of text, but it can also generate voice and then sometimes video content. So we've had evidence of one actual attack that was made public recently. I can't remember the name of the company, but there was an individual on a Zoom call, and that individual was not an individual. That was an AI generated bot that was in real time responding to the people's queries.
It strikes me that the computing power necessary to do this kind of thing has to be kind of extensive. But I wonder if it's also one of those things where, cell phones used to be the size of a car dashboard, and now they're in my pocket. Is that kind of the same idea, or?
Yeah. So right now, most AI, or at least any useful AI, needs some level of horsepower. The downside to that, or let's say there's a barrier to entry for individuals who would actually use this for nefarious purposes. The downside there is that with the advent of cloud technology, you pay for what you use, and so I can spin up 15 compute instances in, let's say, AWS or Azure, run my model, train my model, use my model, and shut it down, and it cost me about $35.
Yeah, as opposed to buying an insane computer and having to make all of that infrastructure. Anybody anywhere could pretty much spin one of these up and with some kind of coding knowledge start doing nefarious things.
Yes, and right now there is a barrier to entry there with respect to the knowledge needed
Mm-hmm.
to run and train and use these things for that purpose. But it isn't that great, and that will soon be overcome as things tend to get easier for everybody like you and me and my mom and everybody on the internet. So too will these things for the attack groups.
Right. So let's think about the other end of the equation here. We've got attack groups who are constantly probing systems like allies, like our members, like us here at AFSA, like healthcare organizations, which we've seen in the news. How are security pros thinking about those attacks, and how are they using AI in the return salvo to make their jobs a little bit easier to try to find these attacks and stop them?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So uh, we're not anti AI. In fact, we're desperately trying to fight fire with fire, AI with AI. So one of the things that we have to do is I know that at Allied Solutions we get about 4 to 5 thousand events that happen in our environment every second, and we're
Wow.
processing all of that content. We're funneling it in, and we have a dedicated team of security analysts who have to sift through all of those events to determine whether or not we're dealing with a security incident. So you can imagine that is a really big haystack, and pulling a needle out of that is a really tough thing to do. We're basically trying to define normal and figure out what abnormal is. So AI, specifically generative AI, can help us and other security practitioners find more needles in the haystack, make the needles bigger so they're easier to spot. There's a lot of different things that AI can do to help us um, in our mission as well. So AI. The way that I think about it is it's a tool. It's like a car or a computer or whatever. It can be used for good. It can be used for bad. And really, right now, it's an arms race to see who can find the most novel use for it first. The bad guys are the good guys.
Interesting. So to the extent to which you're comfortable talking about it, are you finding that you're having more attacks that are looking to take advantage of, say, employees at Allied, or are you finding that attackers are really attacking the kind of products and services, trying to take advantage of some of the lending and insurance and marketing services kind of things that you guys offer?
It's kind of twofold, and it's the way that we think about attacks and how they're structured, or certainly how a threat actor groups do, is that at the high level strategic, and there are boardrooms and office buildings where they go 8 to 5 and figure this stuff out. We've actually worked with FBI to actually see those facilities. Just like any other job, but at the
Wow.
high level, they will use the threat actor group will usually have a target or a series of targets that may be a product, service, or organization that they want access to for whatever purpose. And then they'll take us another step. So that's the goal. That's the target. The next step down will be the TTPs, or sorry, the tools, techniques, and practices, or the modus operandi of them. How are they going to get into there? And usually the weakest link is going to be the human element. All of these
Mm-hmm.
organizations that are going to be that target list are going to have individuals working for them. And each of those individuals is a potential vector in.
So, talk about some of the dangers an organization might face, and what they can do to mitigate.
Oh, sure, and you're absolutely right. Uh, without a measured approach, you can get into trouble pretty fast with artificial intelligence. Adopting it without a good risk management framework wrapped around it. There have been innumerable examples of publicly traded companies who are very publicly branded as not great because they adopted AI too soon. There was uh, uh, it was a few years ago, but Microsoft was toying with an AI chatbot that they released it, well, at the time, Twitter, now X. And they released this, and within a few hours, this thing started spewing out anti-Semitic remarks and racist
Mm-hmm.
content, and they had to shut it down very quickly. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, there's really when you're talking about AI, uh, making sure that there's an understanding of risk of bias, because AI is trained with data, and that's primarily how you influence how the AI functions. If your data is biased, then your output will be biased. There's also some the of course it's another technology, so you need to have security around that. There's a privacy element to it as well. If an individual wants to be forgotten, it's not really clear how to get an AI to unlearn something once it's learned it. So let's say an AI scours Facebook for all of your public content. You can't untrain that from your Facebook photos.
Right.
There's also we've also seen a really big rush to regulate. We've seen most of the developed world put out regulation and law. EU is running the pack right now with respect to regulation with their AI Act. That's primarily privacy driven, but in Japan, for example, it's primarily usage driven and not necessarily focused with privacy. We've seen a few states uh, come up with their own regulation, but even the definition of artificial intelligence in these regulations is not the same. And so I think that there's a big rush to get something on the books without really thinking it through too much. So we'll see that coalesce at some point. But right now it is a little bit Wild West, so be careful.
I think the definition of AI is a funny thing too, because I think there's a lot of conversation about it's a buzzy term, and there's a difference between, say, machine learning and AI, and I think the two are often kind of conflated.
Yeah, absolutely. So AI uh, uh, is, at least in computer science terms, the blanket, the umbrella term for all of this deep neural networks and machine learning and large language models and large action models. AI is the blanket term for that. Like I said, AI technology has been around in some form or fashion since the early 50s. We're just now seeing it in the public eye with generative AI and chatbot type of things.
Neat. Yeah, and one of the things we talk about all the time in the compliance world is, no matter what system you're using, whether it's AI or a database or old-fashioned pen and paper, when regulators come knocking, asking, let's take a look. How did you come to this credit decision with this individual? The answer really cannot be, well, the AI said so.
Right.
Or
Yeah.
my algorithm said so.
Yeah,
You need to be able to back things up, and I think it seems to me that in the rush to do some AI things, there could be some things that maybe your companies are leaving out when they're trying to implement a lot of this stuff.
Oh, absolutely. It's like trying to get out of a parking ticket when my car drives itself. I mean, well, that's not really going to
Right.
apply
Yeah.
with any traffic officer. But yeah, there's what we're trying to promote is an awareness and a transparency. That transparency needs to be baked in order for any AI deployment project to be successul.
Well, that's a good overview, David. I appreciate it. Do you have any closing thoughts from you before we get out of here?
Oh, sure. I think that I think that the viewership or the listenership here can be just be aware that AI is here and it's here to stay. We're going to see a lot of crazy, weird stuff happen, and it'll settle down. But right now, we are in the swing of things. But talk to your security teams and see how well they're faring against AI-based attacks, because they are out there. And also the converse, what are we using AI for to help further the mission of our defenders?
Excellent. David Ralstin, VP of Chief Information Security there at Allied Solutions Security. And thanks so much for joining us, David.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
AFSA hopes you've enjoyed this edition of the Extra Credit Podcast. Don't forget to follow AFSA on Twitter at AFSA_DC and on LinkedIn. Just search for the American Financial Services Association. You can follow AFSA's SGA team on Twitter at AFSA_SGA. The blog at AFSAonline.org is also a great resource for the most up-to-date news. If you've got questions or if you'd like to suggest a guest, please shoot us an email at communications@afsamail.org or tweet at us. Join us next time for more Extra Credit. Thanks for listening.